All right, hello everyone. So we're here with Billy. We're at 14 Hertz practice. You think 14 Hertz is a band, but it's actually practicing hyperintelligence because my product is Moira 14, and Billy's product is everything Hertz. And when you put them together, 14 Hertz is the frequency of hyperintelligence. So we like to do all things intelligent. Okay. So, Billy, I have a serious question for you. It's for the whole team at the Moira Press, and we don't quite know how to think about something, and we want your advice.
Okay.
Okay, so you know how there's artists who show up and play a show in your town once a year, or they play once in a while? Well, we're stamina artists because we show up for our crowd literally every day. Like, we're usually posting YouTube videos, or I'm on Facebook, or like, we're basically open for business 24, well, like 365 days a year.
Yes.
And so once in a while we get low numbers. Like all of a sudden, so I'll post YouTube videos and they'll be like 175. Sometimes they peak up here, and then sometimes we go down to really low numbers, like 20 views.
You're talking about your views.
Yeah, views on YouTube.
Right.
Or it could be a Facebook post that gets crickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the crickets number?
Crickets?
Like below a certain number is crickets.
Crickets would be like zero interaction with the post, or those posts I just take down. If the crowd doesn't like a certain conversation or thread, like it just goes away.
Right.
But I know how to blow up a thread. Like, for example, if I say to the crowd, what degree is your north node of the moon? Like, bam! I get like 50 people showing up. Like, I know how to blow up my crowd.
Yeah.
But with videos, I don't always know what's going to go dead air or what's going to go low numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, how do you, as somebody who works with bands and try to get them bigger, how do you perceive small shows or small venues or smallness?
I, not trying to be. The attitude I have taken is not trying to be like defeated about it and like feel bad about it. Like a show with a small attendance is just a cool practice because you get to be out of the space you normally practice in, and you get to deal with a PA system and a sound person, and it's just good practice for any other show. So when you do have a big show, then you've had that much more experience on stage.
Interesting. So if we make a bunch of YouTube videos throughout the year, and there's some that have small numbers, we should say those were helping us sharpen the saw for
Absolutely.
the other bigger ones.
Absolutely, like anything you did to make that video happen is just more experience under your belt and a lesson learned, on whatever lesson you want to take from it. Like maybe the crowd wants this could be a lesson, or just technical skills. You've become that much more honed in on your technical skills.
Interesting.
Like you wouldn't have that experience if you didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I like that. Like always getting better kind of attitude because
Yeah.
because some people think I should chase views. Like, for example, they say, "Oh, well, you got a lot of views on this one. Like the clown videos will get more views because I'm like done up or whatever." But like, I don't always feel like making a clown video. And
Right.
if I made 100 clown videos, then they would start getting low views. So
Sure.
it's like, how much should we be chasing the crowd's likes?
Yeah, like it's surprising to me that like you have videos, like if you have videos with high counts, just because of your clown makeup, like so it must depend a lot on the thumbnail then. Because why would somebody press go if they didn't like you know what I mean? Like if they see you in clown makeup, they're gonna hit go. That's weird to me. Like maybe the thumbnail is more critical than we think.
Well, thumbnailing is a whole thing, and I have studied thumbnails, and I actually do a mix of thumbnail and no thumbnail because
Mm.
if you throw up thumbnails constantly, a lot of what I'm producing is a Facebook show, actually. They're YouTube videos, but they're for the Facebook storyline, and
Mm.
so it's like sometimes I want. Like, am I going to put a thumbnail for you and I chit chatting in the studio? Probably not, because it would make it seem like it's like Billy Anderson on low views. Like, that's like a thumbnail style video. But if it's just us talking organically, I kind of want it to look like that, so I might
Mm.
not thumbnail it. But,
Mm.
I do think thumbnailing is one way to chase views.
Yeah, and people. I mean, there's a plugin I have for Chrome web browser that gets rid of the super sensationalist thumbnail and just does it makes the old algorithm which just chooses one of like five stills from the video
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the thumbnail.
Yeah,
It
you can do that
replaces
too.
the big, because most people now put letters that are bigger than anything on the, like sometimes it's clickbait.
Yeah, you can do that with Canva. I can make one with big letters for us, and
Yeah. Billy Anderson dies. And then you go, in the video, you're like, his hair, he dyed his hair. Something like that. Like,
yeah.
just make it clickbait. Like, unbelievable! The story is out now,
Yeah, yeah. So clickbait is when it gets you to click, but there's nothing good in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah, like, or it's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like a play on words to get you to click it.
Well, so there's something like crusty punk I want to get to, which is that like, what if I'm like, it's not like fuck views, but it's like low view. I got low views on that video. Like, is there a way to like reclaim low views so that you're just like, yeah, low views? Like what would that look like?
I don't know. Like, I don't have that much experience, like checking out how many, like I just post shit and like. Maybe I'll notice how many views it had like later down the road, but that's not something I really monitor when I post something. Maybe I should. I probably should. But like I don't have a lot of experience in it, but I would just again revert to like, well, if a lot of people didn't see it, maybe leaving it up, like maybe something in the future will cause people to go back and look at your past stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it'll mean more to them.
So as a producer, you're not looking at, because like you and I are both producers, but I'm more of like, part of the reason I look at views is to see what my students like and don't like. A lot of our programming has been like what gets a lot of views, and we do more of that in the monitor. But that's because that's saying to us like, oh, people really like this, or they so in some ways I do chase views, or I use them as data.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a YouTube channel, you kind of have to.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's something I would call push content, which is something that I want to say to the crew that is not popular. And so that's what I'm kind of getting to here, where it's like, does like if you're really a rogue punk band, like is everything you say in order to be likable?
No.
Yeah. That's what I think is like. I think like chasing likability is not actually my job as an artist.
I mean, the punk ethos often dictates that you say things to not be likable, like say things just to be contrary.
Yeah. Know? Well, or like villainy is like a thing. Like I might have certain people that I work with that not everyone likes, or some people don't like, and people think I should cut those people, and I'm like, oh, there's people you love to hate. Like you can hate so and so because it's fun.
And people are really fickle. They could love that person next week for some reason. You just you can't really predict what people are gonna like or hate.
Yeah, interesting.
But like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope because the mass public to me is like it's so hard to know what people are going to react to and how. So I just like, and also about like low counts. Like I've done albums where at the time there was like no money to make it, or like the reaction wasn't super strong at first, but like years later they're considered classics.
Oh, interesting.
Like.
What
stuff that I would be surprised that it would become that, because we spent so little time on it, or like it doesn't sound up to like what a modern standard would be, but like we made it in 3 days, but now it's a classic like 10 years later.
Well, the government, I see your FBI hat because Billy's fucking messing with me because I have psychotic breaks sometimes, and I was like, are you in the CIA, are you in the FBI? And then he has his hat on.
I don't even know where I got this.
But I do think about that is like the art that we're making, the government could all of a sudden decide to fund it one day.
Yeah, if you live in Norway.
Well, or if it becomes PSYOPs, CIA art.
I mean, chances of that are pretty high, I guess.
Exactly. I do think my Sharpies could become PSYOPs, where we like teach the whole country that they're individually and beautiful, and then we beat other societies because we love our people so much.
I mean, we've been beating societies for years.
Well, but I hear your point though of like to make art for likability's sake is kind of not the we don't know what's gonna pop, and that's what kind of frustrates me sometimes. Is like I think something's really awesome, and then I share it and it gets very low views, and it as an artist that messes with me because I'm like, you guys, you should be looking at this, but they don't see it as valuable, and like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so some people that get a lot of views, I think, is like because they're riding a certain trend. Like you can't really predict what the public will like, but if they're, for instance, grunge was a time when you knew exactly what the people wanted. That's why like punk rock bands were getting signed to big labels, because like it was easy to predict what people would like. It was something that sounded like Nirvana. You know what I mean? Like it was super easy, and every band from that period at least thought about, if not made songs in that vein for that reason, and it was easy to predict.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when it's easy to predict, but most of the time, like Nirvana started it, but nobody on Earth knew that that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
They just put out a song and it became like number one, and they're like nobody was more surprised than them, you know. But then a million clone bands followed for like 5 years.
Yeah. So I mean, so things could pop that like in a similar vein to like low views, something could get really high views, and that actually happens to me a lot. Like I made this video with Camille, you know, and I'm a maestro in the video, and it got 175 views in like 12 hours. Like why that video? I don't know.
You don't know, but maybe you know, if you're going to be capitalize on it, you could maybe make something else in that vein and see, you know, like see if it had the same thing or if it was just a fluke.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So would you say that a person should make what they authentically want to make and let like God be in charge of the numbers, or like?
That's always been my thought, you know, like I've mellowed out on it. I used to take a really hard stance on it. It was like, you know, I started playing music because of what I like to play, you know, like I've always written very strange, mathy, like dissonant sounding music just because it feels natural to me, but like, you know, it never really appealed to anybody on a larger scale, and I was cool with that because like I've been like I write stuff for me, and it's like if somebody likes it, that's a bonus. But like, some people will admittedly be like, I only do this for popularity, or you know, because it's a trend or whatever. Now I'm somewhere in between. Like I want to play what people enjoy listening to. I don't want like hearing my music to be a hassle to listen to, you know, anymore. But I still write. You know, it's somewhere in between, like likability and personal satisfaction. It's like somewhere in between. It varies.
Interesting. Well, I guess you're right. It could dance the line of expressionism. Like I express what my manias and my transits want to do, and then if the crowd likes something, I'd be like, oh, they like that. That's cute. You know, like, and then just give more of that a little bit in my, you know, going forward.
Right. But I think that thought can be tamed by like, oh, maybe. You know, maybe this will be better if I just tone it down a little bit. Like, keep me out of it a little bit more, you know, like,
yeah.
And it's not like you would be, like, unhappy or, like, pandering if you did the likability thing, but, like, you know, because I know that you have that in you, but it's like your tendency is to be more rogue.
Is that selling out?
No. I mean, technically, yes, but, like, a little bit? No. You know, like, I used to be like, fuck, I'll never do an album for a major label. And then my friends got signed to major labels. So I was like, okay, I'll do a song, you know, like Robin Hood theory, like rob from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah.
I would get paid a lot of money to make an album, and then like other bands that didn't have any money would benefit for it for like a year, you know?
Yeah, the philanthropist goes wild.
Yeah, because I didn't have to charge them as much because I had just made a big chunk of money. So
interesting. Well, okay, so let's keep on this a little bit. So, okay, let's say somebody's getting high views, like high view, and then all of a sudden there's a dip.
Yeah.
Now what do we do?
Try to figure out what caused the dip.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
It's hard, but like if it's in the space of like one video, maybe that last video just rubbed people the wrong way or something.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to be said for, okay, so there's this video on YouTube of this guy punching for 1 minute straight. He's just like, punch, like this, you know? And it's like, that is literally us at the Moira Press. He's like, we are up and at 'em every day. We work 365 days a year. And I think we like accidentally tire our crowd out a little bit where they're just like, I can't even, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but we're not tired, you know?
That could happen. Like people get sick of you for like a week.
Yeah.
And then they realize they're addicted and they want more.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you said it that way because that's what I notice happens. Like, you know, we dipped for a week and then now we're back up again, and it's like I think it could be that people get sick of it for a very short time and then they miss it.
Yeah, well, it's with anything like a food or like a TV show or something. Like you'll be sitting there watching your favorite show and be like, this is dumb. Why am I watching this? Or you know, like why am I eating this again? I'm sick of it. But then a week later, you're like, man, I really crave that.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like, you know things run in cycles.
That's true.
Maybe you just get tired of something for a minute.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's kind of, you're getting to something there because I feel like, okay, part of me, when I tire my crowd out, like, I want to be like, oh, I should go easy on the crowd, but I have stuff scheduled. Like, my schedule is like a CEO on acid. Yeah. Like, so I have shows scheduled for months, you know, and it's like, I can't go low on shows because the
Right.
crowd got tired.
You have to be consistent. Like the crowd, it's not like the entire crowd moves as one. Like there are people that will still watch or whatever. Like you have to just keep making stuff. You can't try to surf to the crowd because the crowd has different cycles. Like they don't move as one entity.
Okay, so you think even if we tire the crowd out, we should just go with our programming and then let them come back when they're missing?
Yeah, yeah, because maybe there'll be something that you make that makes them be like, oh man, I should watch that one I missed.
Okay.
Like you have to be consistent. I think.
Okay, interesting. That's actually the lesson I wanted to know from you is, if the crowd gets tired, should I back off or should I just keep going full force? Because I don't back off. Like my chart doesn't go through depression.
Yeah.
It goes through 3 manias a week and it doesn't get depressed.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it just. But maybe that's why we're an institution. Like it's like my school is literally like a place people go, like the pool.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that there's a lot of merit in being consistent. Like in the bigger picture, it doesn't matter so much in each individual moment, but the bigger picture is that you kept, people will look back and be like, you kept putting out content regardless of how many views you had or like how much people liked. It's like a band. Like that album wasn't as popular as the others, but you go back and you're like, man, they just kept putting out album after album after album, and that's admirable.
Yeah.
Admirable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something to be said for jumping the shark, and it's like, how do we avoid jumping the shark?
What does that mean?
So that, they say Metallica jumped the shark on the Black album, which is when, you hit your peak, and then after that you kind of go down, it's like, and it comes from when Fonzie jumped over a shark.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah. That was like the pinnacle of Happy Days.
Yes.
Well, to some. I think it was when he jumped over the trash cans, personally. But.
You jumped the trash can.
Jumped the shark. So you're saying, like, you're blowing your wad is jumping the shark, kind of?
Pretty much it's like when you're like kind of a has-been after you jump the shark.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't ever want to feel like a has-been or be one.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, maybe some people see it that way. It doesn't matter to me that much, but I don't want to feel like that myself.
Well, didn't someone call you a has-been recently?
In a fight, yeah.
Well, okay, so...
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, my reply was, look, if I am a has-been, which I don't think I am, but like, if I am, at least I had something to have been. That was my response. At least I made something to have had been.
Right.
But I don't think of myself that way.
It's better than mean I never was.
Yeah, exactly. To put it in short form, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's actually a good thing. Is like, you and I are lifers in art, so we're running until the day we expire.
Like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I have no other options.
Well, the world doesn't want you to do other options.
Well, it's probably a good thing then.
Yeah.
One time the world was with me.
Well, so I guess if we start waning, I think we need to breathe new life into the process or new life into. Like if you're going into like a has-been cycle, like all I have to do is come over for like 10 weeks in a row, and then you're like no longer a has-been. Like Andy and Billy are running. Like I think one friend can get you out of that.
If it happens, I'll let you know. I have not felt like that ever.
Yeah. No, you're not a has-been. You keep producing new stuff.
I'm an MB.
Yeah, is being. Okay.
Yeah, I just am. Like, if I died, then I'm a has-been. If I had been alive.
Well, I mean, I think this is a good lesson in, it's like, I'm not a one-hit wonder. I'm like 1,000 million hits, wonderful. I'm not trying.
1,000 legendary things, in the bigger picture, maybe.
Yeah.
Is the lowest you would even go.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to be said for being a stamina artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like part of the art form, because part of what we're showing is mega manifestation, because astrology is this ancient occult manifestation art.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of me being so high hitting is because I'm showing my crowd this is what it looks like to run every single transit.
Yeah.
So I think that the stamina is part of the art form that we're actually representing.
Sure, yeah. Like if you look at a band like the Melvins, they've been a band literally for 40 years.
Oh.
And they're not like super chart topping or anything, but the people that like them, that's one of the biggest attractions, that they like Buzz and Dale have been playing together since 1984, 85.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. And so, do they ever go through dips, or what does that look like?
Not really as far as their output.
Okay, so they keep putting out essentially,
Yeah.
and then people just kind of come and go in
They
their
just
lives.
do what they do. If people like it, then that's a bonus for them. They get asked to do stuff that would boost their popularity, and sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. You know,
Interesting.
but like they just keep being them.
Okay. So that's the lesson is like keep doing what we're doing, and then things will come in. Like people will be like collaborations will come in, and people will come over and be like, do this with us or do. So we should look at it as like we got this base production cycle that we do,
Yeah.
and then we should let things happen to us as well.
Yeah, that's that. If you have a thing that you do that's consistent, like that's always going to be there, and crowds will come and go.
Okay.
I've been through like 3 or 4 generations of a crowd. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's strange to say, but it's true. Like 3 or 4 generations of people. Like by generation, I mean like the typical cycle of a musician, like maybe 10, 15 years.
Interesting.
You know.
So you've had several subsets of people kind of in and out of your being in your grill, basically.
Yeah. Like groups of bands or like waves of like certain types of music, like in each of those, like grunge is an example. When I moved here, doom was a big thing,
Oh yeah.
and I recorded every fucking doom band in Portland. And like that, even that's a generation to me now, because a lot of those people don't even play music anymore,
Okay.
or they're onto different kinds of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that's where there's something different here, and this is why I really want to have this conversation with you. Is like a lot of people play in a band in their 20s, and then they never play in a band again.
Yeah.
And it's like you and I are the kind of artists that we're lifetime professional artists. It's like, so what do you do when you start dipping? It's like, and I feel like the Melvins is a great example of like they do them like you do you or whatever, and then just let waves of people come in, because like I'll have people stay with us for like 2 or 3 years and then they drop off, and that happens all the time.
Yeah. Maybe it was a hobby, like hobbyists.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
You got to find your path in life. Just ours happens to be like, I don't know what else I would do if I didn't make music.
Yeah.
I've been making music since I was 4 years old.
Yeah. Well, so from like a manifestation perspective, you're not supposed to let anything shut your valve, which is like make your heart chakra stop spinning. And it's like I really want to see these numbers and be beyond them, like where it's like, oh, they're dipping, but I want my heart chakra to literally be sitting there spinning like equally open, no matter what the number is.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel that.
So, it sounds like what you're saying is my heart should be open and spinning because this is me and this is my life, not because of the crowd response.
Yeah. Like you do what you do to make yourself feel like valid in life and like make you feel like you're pursuing the right path in life. Like I don't think you'd feel right if you weren't making music or making,
astrology videos
or whatever
classes
it is,
and all that stuff.
That satisfies your soul.
Yeah.
If it happens to satisfy large groups of people, which it will at times, and it won't at times.
Yeah. Well, it's like crazy because I go through peaks. I actually learned a lot from what you just said about like the Melvins doing things that boost their popularity. Like I did this video at Kepler College of Astrological Arts and Sciences, and I got 4,300 views, and like that's like a big show for me, right? So that's 4,000 people who saw me talk on that topic, right? But they have a crowd of 16,000 astrologers at that school, so the crowd was really big. But I splashed the crowd really well. Like a lot of people get a lot less views than that on their video, But that was I mean, how should we look at that? Like where there's these big, that would be like peak experiences, like. Even Marilyn Manson. I mean, does Marilyn Manson ever play to a small crowd? I mean, I guess when you get to an arena level, do you count numbers, or like do they ever play a small show, or is it like everything a peak experience? I guess they go through a lot of days where they don't play at all because they play tours and then they go out of commission and write. I mean, I don't know.
The album cycle is like you make an album on that level. Maybe you spend a year making an album, and then you tour on that album for a year.
Okay.
And then you disappear because you're writing for the new one.
Yeah.
That's a typical high level rock thing.
Yeah.
You disappear while you're writing your album, but you still keep promoting like when you're touring on an album. Those songs are now like 2 years old because you've been writing and then playing them over and over and over and over again in the studio. And by the time you're touring on them, sometimes you get kind of sick of playing them. You know?
Oh yeah, that's why I don't actually. That's why I'm not trying to be a professional musician in that way because I hate playing the same song over and over.
Yeah. Imagine being like, uh, you know, uh, the guy that wrote like that American Pie song. Like he's only known for that. It's like imagine how many times he's played that fucking song. Or like if Nirvana was still alive, if Kurt was still alive, they'd be playing like "Smells Like Teen Spirit" at the fucking county fair. Just be like, I hate the song. I hate the song. Like I can't imagine, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I do the same lecture. Like I've been touring around with my astrological remediation lecture, and I've spoken to almost every astrology group in the United States, just like playing the same song.
yeah. And you know that's partially playing to the crowd. You got to give them what they like. Like, you know,
Yes.
like big crowds get bummed when you're even if you're playing the song they want to hear and the guitar solo is different than it is on the album. So you got to not only play the song but play it exactly as it was on the album, or people get bummed.
God, this is a really good lesson. Because you're right. Like we should, as artists, be doing what the playing to the crowd. Like if the crowd likes the AR lecture, like I will give you the AR lecture.
I have another one. Here's another one. You know.
Yeah, I have like I write. I basically my tour cycles. I write a new lecture about every 6 months or a year. Like now I'm onto the astrology and bipolarism lecture, the mega manifestation lecture, and I'm gonna do this installment lecture. But like I add lectures on. But yeah, I mean I guess I should move on to my next one. But if they request the AR lecture, I'd be like, I'll give you what you want. You know.
There's nothing wrong with that as far as like from a sellout point of view. There's nothing wrong with like if I wrote a song that happened to be a big hit for whatever reason, I would maybe think about writing one similar. You know, because like you like that one, here's another one. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that, but like it came from an original thought that you weren't writing for the crowd. You know, but like if they like it, here's another one that you'll like too. You know?
Yeah. Well, okay, so what I want for the maybe as part of you being my producer is like you can help me keep an open heart like as the crowd ebbs and flows.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Maybe you'll have to give me a hug.
Of course.
I don't need a hug right now. I mean, you can give me one, but I don't need.
I'm giving you one right now.
Cool camera hug. Oh.
Feel that?
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good talk for everyone at the Moira Press. Anything else that you want to say?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.